the Dressing Room Hair Spa, for a healthy hair and experience conveniently located in the metro Atlanta area. Why? Because you're worth it. So please visit www.thedressingroomhairspa.com.
Today on Love and Entrepreneurship, we pick back up with Chris and Takita Morgan as they continue to discuss their journey. Where are we going?
So do you want to go ahead and get dirty with the conversation then and talk about how you was feeling during that time? Because we talking about love and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And we have to be honest, and really get down and dirty with this stuff. And there's times where, life pressures you, and you don't know what to expect. You're concerned about the future. You're tired. You're weary. All these different things that just happen are a part of adult life. So it's safe to say, okay, sometimes you do feel like blaming your spouse. You get resentful. So talk about.
So for me, it wasn't necessarily just all out resentment. However, it was, when I looked at my business, I know my potential to make money. And when I look at your business, especially in the beginning times where, it was a baby and, you needed help. So I look at all I'm doing. I'm working a 9 to 5. I'm doing my business as a side hustle. I'm providing the needs of the household. Barely. Sometimes not even really. If I just keep it 100. And what you're doing isn't adding up at the moment. And this is what led me to kind of just rush out there the way I did. Because in my thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go out here and make this business happen because I need help. So I got to be my own help. I'm not getting help from you. You're babysitting this thing that is taking, for me, at the time, really feeling like it's just taking too long for you to turn things over. I don't have time to keep waiting. I'm breaking my back. I'm working these crazy hours. I'm hustling on my business. I'm driving Uber and Lyft in between that. Well, not Lyft, just Uber Eats. I'm doing, so it's like I'm constantly doing everything I can to maintain, hold us down, and help you grow, but I don't see any growth in you. So now I gotta, continue on or continue, I'm breaking my back. And then it's like the call.
Crazy for.
Yeah, but then,
when
it's
it got
like.
really, really, just bad, because it wasn't any understanding. It was more so.
Well, I never talked about it. I didn't talk to you about it.
If you let even a little piece of resentment come in there, it could grow really fast. It's like
no, absolutely. I didn't talk to you about it because the dad hat was there. Well, first of all, the man of the house hat was there. The dad hat was there. The husband hat was there. The yourself hat is there. And then you got the needs of others outside of your home pulling on you. A lot of people always call up Chris, what can you do for me today? Type stuff. I used to get a lot of phone calls like that till I started answering the phone. But you had all of that, and it felt like literally, I remember days just really feeling like I don't want to do any of this anymore. Forget everything, forget everybody. Why am I even doing this? Let me take the pressure off of myself. Why am I even doing this? But because the thing that pushed me through all of that was I did believe. I didn't see the results, but I did believe. So regardless of, and this is why I never talked about it, because I felt like if I said something, then I would be placing doubt on you. You know what I mean? Even though I have these thoughts, even though, I'm tired, I'm getting up, body's aching, but I believed in you that much I just knew it needed to take time. But in the reality that we lived in, you know, coming from where we come from in our situation, it couldn't take as long as it took. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
at least in my own eyes.
Talk about that, like how you say you didn't want to say anything, but when the pressures of life, because like when we started off, we talked about the arguments we had. So let's talk about.
Get to your point. When we go to be clear now, what you trying to say?
Talk about the arguments. What will be because during those tough times, like you started off talking about the different arguments we had. The arguments would be what we tried not to say in the calmer times,
sure.
Because we didn't want to, you know, whatever.
Sure.
And then also too, because we did argue about different feelings we had, like for you, like you just said, with mine, it's taking too long. And then like I expressed a few minutes ago, you not caring enough because you focusing more on your job that you hate, but you focusing more on that. You not caring enough about your business. So then when we would like argue about it, then I
would join in with everybody else, right? Because,
you know, about what was taking too long, and I would say, then I would come back and be like, well, you ain't caring about your business. So
right.
It's like
there were times, and I would join in. Like the thing about it, when you're an entrepreneur, everybody thinks you just got all this time in the world, right? Or when you're a stay-at-home mom, you know, during the time you're stay-at-home, you're trying to build businesses. And I'm like, well, why this stuff ain't, you know, jumping? You got all the time in the world, but you know, you're doing multiple things while you're at home. One, but because that pressure's on, or you said something that struck a nerve, or it's just been a rough day, I hated my life that day at work, and I'm coming home and I'm like, well, I got to do all of this, ain't nothing, I don't see nothing progressing. You know, I would join in. Oh, you know, you're being lazy, you ain't working hard enough, you're not doing anything. Oh, what are you doing? You watching us fail, you know, blah, 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 and whatever. And that was just the pent up frustration that was toxic that I would lash out, you know. And then in return,
and I would lash out.
You would lash back because you're hurt at what I'm saying.
You know, who you talking to? and like all this stuff I did, and you gonna tell me, you know?
Yeah.
So the point being, for you know the people.
You're good though, y'all. You shouldn't be sitting here talking.
Well, no, like this is the real.
But yeah.
This is the real. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't cute it, you know. Yeah. We can, but we like to say, okay, this is the real, because especially in this social media age, everybody makes marriage look perfect, entrepreneurship look perfect, right. You know, all of these things, and here we have two challenging things: marriage and entrepreneurship. Right. And then, you know, we're trying to put them together, and you know, it on the good days that can be a really great combination, and on the bad days it could be a really bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we've been on the way to events, and you know, we're arguing from the door to the door, and when we get there, we handle the business. Nobody will ever know we had an argument. We get back on, you know, in the truck on the way home. We were arguing all the way back home, you know, and it just kept continuing. And you know, I remember this one event. You had, you know, we weren't arguing there, but you know, you kind of made some statements about, hey, you know, I think you're going about it the wrong way. It's causing you to spend too much money. And I'm like, oh no, it'll be fine. You got it. And because of that decision, that caused some hardship in our life. However, you know, even on the way back, that discussion, and like I said, during that time, very private, I didn't want to hear anything. It's like, oh, if I spend, I'll make it back. You know, because I was having that resentful, like, you ain't bringing anything. You ain't doing nothing, you know, financially, so I don't want to hear it. Instead of being like, she's trying to manage our future right now, you know what I'm saying, being a wise man. I'm being a prideful man. And I'm like, you don't bring anything, I got it. And not fully understanding that. So, you know, a lot of foolishness. I call my own, I'm country, y'all. I talk pretty rough. So a lot of foolishness. Just being straightforward is what it was. And, you know, so it's important to, because first, you're a team. You cannot allow businesses, entrepreneurship to get in the way. I understand we have so much passion about our businesses, our dreams. They're our dreams. They're our goals. We baby them. You know, in our mind, we take care of them. You know, like you said, they're like a baby. If I was to go over there and do something crazy to our newborn, you'd probably, you know, shoot me in the back of the head because, you know, you're not, you know, you're going to be protected. But sometimes we lose sight of that. We're married first. You know, we're a couple first. You know, we are here together first. We're going to be here with or without these businesses and cannot draw a divide between us because we're so driven. And it works both ways because we are married, we have to be supportive in a positive way for each other, you know, chasing our dream and our calling. So, you know, sometimes as spouses, we're not as supportive as we need to be. We can be selfish. We may not see the vision. I remember we moved into a house. The house needed a lot of work. It was a crazy time in our life. We got this place, and I had a whole vision for it. She didn't see it, but she knew me enough to know that, you know, hey, we weren't going to stay in a crazy situation. And she asked a lot of questions, but, you know, she came on. And, you know what I'm saying, through the course of time, we got it where we needed to get it. And it was, you know, a beautiful place. And it was done. And so, you know, sometimes you got to be able to see the vision. I remember my first barbecue pit, you know, I was bringing all this stuff home, sticking it in the back. She's like, what is all this junk for? And I'm like, you know, once again, I'm resourceful. I'm from the country. We're both resourceful in our own ways. But I can build things, or I have the vision to see that type of stuff. And I've seen it done a million times back home. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna build my barbecue pit, blah, blah, blah. And once I got everything together, I sat outside in the front driveway, and it started raining. But that was the day I was putting it together because I was trying to get ready. It was July 4th weekend coming up, and I'm like, this is gonna be my, you know, my barbecue kickoff. And it's raining, and I could have just went back in, got lazy. But this was my only, you know, off day because once again I was working 9 to 5, and I'm like, this is my off day. I got to get it done. And so I pulled my tent out, put it in the driveway, sat out there in the rain, pieced this thing together, got it all set up to take it to be welded together, and, you know, just saw it through. And so the next time she saw it, you know, it was put together, cleaned up, got it all painted and all that stuff. And she was like, oh, wow. You know, so sometimes you just got to trust your partner, but you got to be smart. You got to, like, you know, you got to have a plan. You got to know what you're doing. But most importantly, I would just say, please remember, your partner, your spouse, you're in a relationship first. That business is great. That business is an awesome thing. It's what you're called to do. And whatever side of that business you're on, whether you're a supportive spouse or you're the entrepreneur, be there and remember that your relationship should always come first. And I say that, but I know it's times where business is going to take precedent. I know it's times where business is going to pull on you a little more as you're building, as you're growing. But you cannot forget or negate the time that you spend with your spouse. You know, date nights are important. Time spent is important. You can't stay up all night working on something, a business project, and then you're too tired to sit and talk for 10 minutes with your spouse. Or when you do, you're halfway sitting there. I'm guilty. Just tired. I worked all day. I come home, spend some time trying to work on business stuff, and then I try to give her some of my time, and which is it's not good. Spend the time, with your spouse first, and then work on your passion, because that'll give you the energy you need. But you have to find that balance and not go too far in one direction, because that's what drives a wedge in that relationship. So we want to maintain and protect the relationship even as we're building a business. As businesses build, they fall. This pandemic showed us that. A lot of places closed down. A lot of people put in a lot of hours for a lot of places that aren't here anymore. So that relationship was meant, to be forever. And if they're, find ways to be supportive. Even sometimes you don't understand, ask questions, try to get understanding. We've had a good conversation, and I think, this is something I would love to do again, because like you said, we could probably write a book on this. Probably should. And if we wrote a book, would you guys buy it? Let us know in the comments. But I want to kind of start closing this out a little bit and talk about the now. And then I'm going to ask for advice. So first, before we get advice to young entrepreneurs or couples, let's talk about the now and some of the challenges that we're facing right now. We have at this point, 5-month-old baby. Mm-hmm. We have 2 businesses that are going. We don't have a large support system around us. Really kind of non-existent right now. What are some of the challenges? And how do we overcome?
So people can even know the story too. Like we talked about a good bit of our time with having our girls and how they were teenagers and stuff during a good bit of our business time. And then, now they're grown, 23, 21. And then we spent a good year as empty nesters. And then our now 5-month-old was not planned, unexpected surprise, pleasant surprise, but that was not in the plan at all. So we have a new challenge with that, because in entrepreneurship we only worked with kids that we could just bring along, kids that could do the work with us, and then even just the time of empty nesting where it was just the 2 of us. I know even like with you, you were doing better in your business where you had some people that you could work with, and you kind of was able to navigate around us not having the girls there anymore. And I just kind of had my thing set up where I was, flowing with my thing too. And then now we have a challenge we've never had before. And with a new baby, it's coming along is not, an option in the type of stuff that we do.
Right.
When we're actually out in the field, when we're actually doing services, bringing the baby along is not an option. And now we don't even have him in daycare. We just tag team. So now we're facing a new challenge, even though we've been sharing an entrepreneurial journey for quite some time now. Over a decade, we've pretty much been doing this, but this is new for us, and we're just making it work, you know. We've never, out of all the challenges that we have faced, it hasn't been, oh, we can't, you know, whatever. Now it's always been, so how can we do it with this going on? We've never like felt like our challenges said we couldn't. We said, we was like, okay, so how can we do this now? So even like now with the baby,
right?
Like I've kind of stepped away a little bit. You know, I already, of course, had to go on maternity leave. And then I had to be mindful of how I was working when I was pregnant. I didn't have to back down too much, but just being mindful, like, okay, I'm pregnant now, right. You know. So we just tag team now, make it work.
Right.
Even like now, we're saying inner prayers while we're doing this recording, that, you know, his nap time will last as long as it needs to for us to.
And for those watching, he's like right over there.
Do this. So
knocked out right now.
That's really, and I can see the fruit of what we've, I guess you can say, built and done all of this time, by how we're handling this, something unexpected, huge, you know, thing. We're making it work because that's what we're used to doing at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times where I'm like, I've said it. I said, God, I am Him. If I can get these things done in the conditions I had to get these things done, and that'll be in my book. I'm gonna tell some stories. Y'all gonna be like, oh my God. But doing some of the things I had to do to get things done, when I look back at it, I'm like, I am Him. And a newborn in this situation has been, you know, it's a challenge because, you know, like I said, you got to tend to their every call, every cry, every coo, just to make sure they're okay. You know, it's eating time. It ain't gonna be no peace. It ain't gonna, you know, you got to stop what you're doing. And I mean, it was times like even when you first went back, you know, I was like, oh, okay, you know, you go ahead. I can kind of do some stuff, and I got him, and it was like, no, like I'm gonna be needy right now. You know, and I remember having a event later on. I had enough time to get stuff done, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I got him. I can kind of do this, you know, as we're going along. And I was very misinformed because he was like, no.
Birthday.
Well, that, but even in some of the other stuff, it was, it happened to be, you know, just ran out of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I had to stop so many times. You know, when I didn't plan to stop, I had to stop. So then it was taking more time because of the, you know, having to stop. Than, you know, than what I expected, and so, you know, that would take time away. So just having to learn to navigate and navigate those obstacles, because, you know, that's life. Obstacles are going to come up and down. Things are going to happen. And you just have to, you know, make decisions. You have to, you know, figure out ways and new ways to do things. And that's our now. You know, you may have small children, or you may end up, you know, becoming pregnant and expanding the family, or, you know, just unexpected things come about. And part of entrepreneurship is dealing with those things, sometimes in a, you know, pretty quick manner. But also, you know, I think it's important, you know, working with each other. We make schedules. You know, we keep our calendar. She schedules her days when I don't have anything, or if she has something going on. I try not to book, you know, too many events or something like that. So, you know, we just work that out and, you know, make it work for us in our situation at the moment. But once again, keeping in mind that the relationship is what's most important. So at this point, we've had a great conversation. What would be three pieces of advice um, that you would give, entrepreneurs and relationships out there right now? I think we got to guess, y'all. So, what would be three pieces of advice you would give, um, entrepreneurs and relationships out there? No matter what stage they're in.
Well, definitely, you want to always make sure that you guys are strong as people, as individuals, and as a couple, and you want to invest in that first. You want to invest in your personal development, and you want to invest in your partnership, because if you're not right as a person, you're not going to be right as a couple.
Right.
And if you're not right as a couple, it's going to affect the businesses, whatever you got going on. Outside of that, it's going to affect that if the household is not strong on a rock. And probably the second piece of advice I would give is to just remember that you guys are doing this as a team. So just like we talked about, making the mistake of letting resentment creep in, that's so dangerous, because it takes you out of the team mode, and it puts you, it separates you somewhat. So like, if you make your spouse feel any type of way because they're not making something happen fast enough, or you don't feel like they're helping life enough, then that could just bring them down completely. That could just bring them to a total halt. That could affect the way they view themselves. And then, like I said in the first tip, if you have some issues within yourself, that's going to affect the marriage and the business.
Right.
So, keeping that team concept of we're in this together. Like, if I was going through this, how would I need my spouse to understand me? If I was having a bad day, what type of support would I want from my spouse? And just make sure you're giving, you're being understanding, you're giving that to your spouse, what you would want, and just remembering that you're in it together, and to give and take properly, and to show up properly. If you feel like you good, okay, make sure your spouse is good too, so everybody can be good. So if you feel like you having a good day, that should automatically mean, okay, where can I step in and be strong for my spouse today? Where can I step in and support my spouse today? And if you're having a bad day, then just find a way to lovingly express that to your spouse. Don't attack them. Don't blame them. Don't make them feel bad because you're having a bad day. Just say, hey, I need to talk to you about something. I'm worried about this, or I'm feeling, some type of way about this, whatever the case may be. And that'll keep you guys in a team place. And then for the third thing, I would say you have to be open-minded. And what I mean by that is, not only should you be willing to, learn new things when it comes to your own things that matter to you in life, but learn new things that, matter to your spouse. if they are on an entrepreneurial journey or just anything in their life that matters to them, learn about it. Ask them questions. Read some stuff about, watch some videos about, what it is they do. Try to understand that part of them. Try so that way when the time comes, you can just step in and support. If you just happen to see something that will help them, you'll know that it can help them, and you're a second set of eyes. You can say, oh, let me tell them about this. This may be something that'll help them, or this will be something that they like, or even just something that may help them feel better if they're having a tough time, like I talked about. And always making sure your team just learn your spouse, learn what matters to them, learn about their learn about their calling, their purpose, their business, everything about them, so that you can naturally support them. And it won't be a thing where you just feel lost, or some unnecessary friction is being caused because they feel like, well, you should have did this or you should have did that, but you might not know you should have did it. So just go ahead and be proactive and learn about their thing. Learn about their side of what they're doing, and that will definitely make the relationship stronger, and that will make your partnership stronger, whether both of y'all are entrepreneurs or they're just is one entrepreneur and the support is needed from the other person. It can still help in either situation. So that would be my 3 points of advice. There is to prioritize the relationship and yourselves to make sure you can have a strong foundation. Always be in team mode. Don't ever let separation, anything that can separate you guys, come in there. And then learn your partner's thing. Learn it so you can naturally support them. So, what about you?
For me, know your plan. And this goes hand in hand with, know your partner's plan, know your partner's business. Well, first I want to say, no, you're not crazy. Yes, there's a baby here now. He was asleep, he woke up, so he didn't just appear out of nowhere, even though I know it'll seem like that. But know your plan, in and out. Be able to explain and execute your plan. I think the biggest part for understanding is, for your spouse to understand your plan and what you're doing. Because if you know what you got going on, they can see the progression, they can see the journey, they can see, and I know a lot of times we don't know, or things don't stay on script, but if you know your plan, and you communicate properly your plan and what you're doing, and when things change, so that kind of alleviates some of that stress or pressure when things kind of seem a little difficult. They can know, okay, yeah, this was expected to happen because, so we'll be okay, and that gives some sense of security. Mentorship. Don't allow pride to get in the way of you getting what you need. I know we talked about, we took free classes and courses and things like that, and we did that for a while until we could get into spaces where we could afford to do the mentorship. So I understand doing what you have to do, but I always say, whether or not, it's through work experience or things you've done, classes you could take, always look to gain mentorship through education. So whether you have a whoever is in your business model, you have a mentor that you can get under, or you have some education, from someone that you can get. YouTube University is out there. A lot of people drop a lot of great information. You just have to do the research some, but some sort of mentorship is needed to help you grow. It'll help you grow a lot quicker. And be able to take accountability from one another. If you're not doing what you say you're going to do, once again, another pride issue. You cannot be prideful when your spouse checks you. You know, that person is there because they want to see you succeed. They're reminding you of what you said you wanted to do. So, you know, accept the accountability. Don't run from it. Don't get argumentative about it. Accept the accountability. And it will take you a lot farther. It'll help push you through some times where you may, you know, be a little lax or things are going kind of slow at the moment, or you may even feel discouraged at times. But when you get that accountability, accept it. So, you know, before we go, you know what I do. Baby, tell them what you do. Tell them how they can reach you. If you want, you know, you want to get your hair fried, dyed, laid to the side, is that what they say?
Well, not quite.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I am the hair therapist, so I specialize in hair therapy, and I pretty much do hair treatments. I treat the hair, I treat the scalp, and that's what I'm about. So any hair issues, restoration needs, or just pampering needs, I take care of that as the hair therapist at my business, which is a hair spa, and it's called the Dressing Room Hair Spa. So I specialize in, you know, just doing pampering treatments, and you get to relax. I tell people I do hair, but I do it in a spa way. So when you come get your hair done with me, you're gonna, you know, get to lay back, take a nap, relax. It's just you and your session, not a lot of noise, people running around, so it's very relaxing and rejuvenating. So you can, my business is called the Dressing Room Hair Spa, and on my website you can find out anything you want to find out about the business, where we are, the hours, the location, prices, anything you want to know about the business. And my website is www.thedressingrooomhairspa.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Queen of Hair Therapy. And that's where you can follow me and keep up with me there. And that's it for me. Did I cover everything?
Oh, yeah, no, excellent. Hey, ladies, she does an amazing job. I'm like the only guy she does, and whenever
I only have one male client.
Yeah, and when she washes my hair, I tell you, I'm just like, I don't know, I melt. It just feels great. So I'm fortunate. Sorry, fellas, but man, I enjoyed the series. I hope you have too. You know, drop some comments below. Let us know what helped, what didn't help. You know, and, you know, we love to get your feedback, man. Share this with friends. You find this informative or helpful in any way. You know, just know that, hey, we love you. We're praying for you. We know you can make this happen. This road is not cut for everyone, but for us that are on it, we are warriors, and we're gonna see it through. So until the next time, the 6 Foot Cook, we're out. We're out of the building because this little fella got it.
Did you introduce our guest?
Oh, I'm sorry. How rude of me. This is my big baby boy here, our big baby boy, the 6 Foot Cook Jr. And he is, you know, growing so much, so fast, but it's time for him to feed his belly. And I want to keep him happy. He's not a happy camper when he's hungry. So until the next time, we love you. We're out. Peace.